Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now it is happening again. We are seeing Bitcoin run into this critical area of support where we have previously seen massive bounces from, while over $1 billion of liquidations are now building to the upside, while Ethereum is now confirming a new pattern in the short term that we need to pay attention to. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, taking a look at the 4-day Bitcoin chart, and as of right now, the Bollinger Band indicator is still squeezing together with the Bollinger Band width indicator still sitting below 20, in between 15 and 20, which are historically very low levels. And in case you're new to this channel, this basically tells us that we're currently in a period of very low volatility relative to this time frame right here. So of course, we're not seeing these massive movements up or down in the price. Over the last few months, we've been in a massive sideways consolidation range, basically range bound in between around 56 to 74,000. And the last time we saw anything close to this was pretty much exactly 1 year ago, right around the middle of 2023. We were also in a massive sideways price range for multiple months during this bull market. But what was important to see back then in the price of Bitcoin was the price simply holding above the previous significant low and not actually breaking below that previous low. So for as long as we can hold above around 56,000, technically speaking, we can still remain within the larger bull market or larger bullish trend. And also, the moment we start seeing an expansion in the Bollinger Band, which will be indicated by a quick uptick here in the Bollinger Band width indicator, as soon as we start to see that signal, that will basically be telling us that we're actually beginning the next extremely volatile move in the price of Bitcoin on the larger timeframes. And historically speaking, all of these previous volatile moves in the price of Bitcoin based on these signals over the last few years have been at least 20 to 30% moves in the price of Bitcoin, if not larger. And that's measuring from basically when we started to see this signal flash here in the Bollinger Bands. But obviously, as we can see here, at least for now, we're still waiting for that signal. As of right now, the Bollinger Bands are still squeezing together with the Bollinger Band width indicator at these very low levels. So over the last few days, not much has really changed here on the 4-day time frame in these indicators right here. And something similar can be said about this 3-day Bitcoin chart, because as of right now, the 3-day Bitcoin RSI is still sitting below 50, which historically speaking, once again, has been a pretty good buying opportunity in the past to simply just dollar cost average or slowly accumulate Bitcoin in these regions in the price chart. But as always, nothing that I say is personal financial advice because I don't know your personal financial situation. I'm just pointing out on the Bitcoin chart what has worked throughout history and what is the most likely scenario moving forward based on all of this information. And as I shared in my last video here on the channel, I am indeed accumulating Bitcoin right now. I'm dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin as we speak, and just over the last 1 to 2 days or so. But at least as of right now, it is not currently a long position or using any leverage. I'm just slowly accumulating spot Bitcoin. And so by doing that, even if we see a continued dump in the short term, I would still be okay. It's not like I will be liquidated. And the reason I'm going with that strategy is because this is more of a longer term signal. And usually when it comes to the much longer term, the spot market usually, at least in my experience, works out better compared to leverage trades, because especially you don't have funding rate fees and things like that. And so once again, simply based on my situation, that is what I'm doing with my own money. But as always, not financial advice because I don't know your personal financial situation. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin chart, as of right now, just today, we're actually seeing a very, very small pullback here in the DXY, which in the imminent short term is a slightly good piece of news for the price of Bitcoin. But with that being said, at least for now, we have not really confirmed a bearish trend reversal in the DXY. And so really, in order to flip much more bullish again in the short term, in terms of the short-term trend and momentum, we ideally need to see a further pullback in the DXY, actually starting to break below some of these previous lows here in the DXY. Because if we start to see that, and especially if we start to form lower highs in the DXY, then as we saw just here, or just here, for example, or back here, for example, pretty much any time where we see a bearish trend reversal here in the shorter term in the DXY, that is very, very bullish for the price of Bitcoin in terms of the trend and momentum on the daily time frame. But of course, over the last few weeks, this has been trending in the bullish direction, which once again is bearish for Bitcoin, as I've been saying over the last 2 to 3 weeks. But as we see these sort of charts change in the future, of course, I'll keep you up to date every day here on the channel with these update videos. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you're subscribed to this channel with notifications turned on so that you don't miss out on any of these important update videos. And with that being said, taking a look at this daily Bitcoin chart, and what we are now seeing in the price of Bitcoin is a continued bounce, and we're finding a lot of support from this area of support, as we've seen previously, sitting in between around $60,000 to $61,000. And so at least as of right now, just in the shorter term, that is currently where there's a lot of buyers. There's a lot of people interested in buying Bitcoin around that area. And in fact, the last time we entered into this area right here on the Bitcoin price chart, we ended up seeing a decent bounce over the next 1 to 2 weeks in the price of Bitcoin, back up to nearly all-time high levels. And so just keep that in mind. We were in this situation right here only a little over a month ago, and obviously it didn't take long for that situation to actually change in the short term, which is why I say it's important to understand the difference between the different time frames. On slightly smaller time frames, when we're zooming in, that can change between bullish and bearish much more often, but the larger trend on the larger timeframes, for example, does not really change very often. But if we're taking another look at that daily Bitcoin chart, obviously in order to actually get back up towards those all-time high levels, we need to first actually break out back above significant resistance between now and then. And the first major area of resistance to pay attention to in the short term is sitting in between around 63,000 to 64,000. And above that, we have another massive area of resistance in between around 67,000 to 68,000, and a lot more resistance at around 72 to 74,000. And so at each of these areas on the chart right here, if we continue to see a bit more of a bounce in the price of Bitcoin, we're most likely going to see the price somewhat struggle around these areas on the chart. So just keep that in mind. In fact, if we're looking at what we've seen previously back here just a couple of months ago, we did end up seeing quite a few bounces from this same area of support, but we struggled around these areas of resistance. As we saw those bounces back to the upside, there were a few times where we saw rejections from those areas of resistance before we eventually saw a further bullish movement. And so that is why it is important to keep in mind that we still have strong resistance between now and these much higher prices. And technically speaking, we are still within a short-term bearish trend, because at least for now, we have not yet actually invalidated the short-term bearish trend by seeing any bullish reversal signals, because those bullish reversal signals would look like breakouts above resistance, or higher lows and higher highs beginning to form in the price of Bitcoin here, or seeing a bearish trend reversal in the DXY. Those will be bullish reversal signals to look out for the price of Bitcoin. But at least as of right now, as we can see here, we have not actually confirmed any of those bullish trend reversal signals in the short-term trend for the price of Bitcoin, at least not yet. But as I've already been saying over the last 2 days, since this local low just a few days ago here, I've already been saying that it's extremely likely that most likely for the rest of this week, we're actually going to see a bit of a relief or a break from this short-term bearish trend. And the reason behind that is because we just ran into major support. We also had a decent red candle here with a large candle wick to the downside, which usually happens around local lows in the price. And we also saw the daily Bitcoin RSI briefly enter into oversold territories, which usually happens right around a local low in the price. And so as I've already been saying very clearly over the last few days, I continue to expect either some choppy sideways price action, if not a slight bounce here in the short term, as the most likely scenarios, potentially for the rest of this week as the most likely scenario. And then potentially next week sometime, there is still the possibility that we could continue that short-term bearish trend with another move to the downside. That is still a possibility if we fail to break out above resistance. But if we see a continuation of that short-term bearish trend, it's likely that that would happen sometime next week or the week after. Once again, at least for the next half a week or so, I do continue to expect a bit of a relief or a break from that bearish trend here in the short term. And if you want to actually trade these moves in the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto, personally, I trade crypto over on Bybit, so I'll make sure to leave a link to Bybit down below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link down below this video to make a Bybit account and deposit on that account, then you can get up to a $30,000 deposit bonus, but only if you use that link down below this video. And also, if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here, which is currently a massive lucky draw happening right now. And this is only happening for the next 3 days or so, where you could win potentially up to $100,000 just by trading crypto on Bybit. Because by trading crypto on Bybit, you simply get these chances for this lucky draw right here, which you can use in this lucky draw to win potentially some free Bitcoin or Ethereum or USDT or a trip to an F1 race, or once again, up to $100,000 as a potential prize just by trading crypto over here. And so if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check this out. And I'll make sure to leave a link to this page right here in the description down below. In fact, it'll be the first link below this video. But for whatever reason, if you cannot access Bybit or if you cannot KYC on Bybit, there is also Bitflex, which is another crypto exchange similar to Bybit, but you don't need KYC for Bitflex. And so I'll also make sure to leave a link to Bitflex down below this video as an alternative crypto exchange. And if we're zooming into the shorter term, looking at the 4-hour Bitcoin charts, keep in mind that during the week, on the weekdays, we're still most likely going to see an increased amount of volatility, whereas during the weekends, shown by these areas on the chart right here, the Saturdays and the Sundays, usually on the weekends, we see very low volatility. And so just over the next 1 to 2 days, we're most likely still going to see an increased amount of volatility, whether it's choppy sideways price action or a slight bullish relief. Once again, that is the type of price action that I'm expecting just for the next couple of days or so as we start to head into the weekend. And then once we actually enter into the weekend, of course, once again, we're most likely going to see relatively boring or flat price action just for the weekend. And if we're now taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, we do have a small amount of liquidity just below the price at around $60,000, or more specifically, around 60.3K to 60.4K. But with that being said, at least for now, we still have a massive amount of liquidity to the upside above the price of Bitcoin. And first of all, we do have a decent amount of liquidity starting at around 62.6K, going up towards around 63,000. But the majority of the liquidity just above the price is sitting at around 65,000, give or take. And right around those prices, we have, give or take, around $1 billion of liquidity sitting very close to 65,000. And now, of course, before we can even reach 65,000, we still have this area of resistance right here in between 63 to 64,000, where the price could still struggle at. But for the bulls out there, the bullish scenario to look out for would be if we start to see a confirmed breakout above 64,000 and start liquidating a lot of those positions, those short positions at 65,000. So if we start hitting 65K, and at the same time, if we start to see more of a pullback in the DXY, that would be the bullish scenario to look out for. But at least for now, we have not yet seen those signals confirm. I'm just letting you know what would be very bullish if we start to see that play out. But with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame, and right now the price of ETH is continuing pretty much a perfect bounce based on the daily candle closes from this 50% retracement level, which is sitting at around 33.50. And we did actually see a candle wick to the downside on that previous dump, almost exactly to that golden pocket area of support, sitting in between around 31.80 to 32.20. And like Bitcoin, at least for now, we have not yet actually confirmed a bullish trend reversal here in the short term for the price of ETH. So technically speaking, we still need to see confirmation in order to expect a further bullish reversal for Ethereum. But like I've already said, over the last 2 to 3 days, we're still most likely going to see a little bit of a relief or a break from that bearish trend in the short term, at least for the next half a week or so, potentially for the rest of this week. We're most likely going to see a break or relief from that short-term bearish trend, even if the trend might not be over. And if we're taking a look at the 12-hour time frame, what has just confirmed on the 12-hour time frame is a new bullish divergence between this low and this low right here, because that is still lower lows in the price in the candle closes and higher lows in the 12-hour Ethereum RSI. And at least for now, this has been confirmed, which means we're most likely going to see either a slight bullish relief or some choppy sideways price action as the most likely scenarios just for the next few days. And the last time we saw something like this was right around here. We had a bullish divergence right between these lows right here, as you can see. And that bullish divergence right there played out in the form of a slight bullish relief, followed by some choppy sideways price action here in the short term before the eventual continuation of that short-term bearish trend later on with another dump. And so that's why I've been saying just over the last few days, we don't actually have enough confirmation to fully confirm that the bearish trend is over. So for all we know, we could still continue the bearish trend later later on at some point. But just for the next few days, most likely for the next half a week or so, so essentially the remainder of this week, I do expect a bit of a relief or a break from that bearish trend just in the short term here. And as for support and resistance levels to look out for on this chart, we do have support sitting at around 3.3k, some short-term resistance at around 3450 to 3460, and a very significant area of resistance in between 3.6k to 3650. And if we're zooming into the 8-hour time frame, as I explained in my last video, that 8-hour Ethereum RSI just recently entered into oversold territories. And historically speaking, when the 8-hour Ethereum RSI enters into oversold territories, that almost always happens right around a local low in the price, not necessarily the bottom of the pullback, the larger pullback or the short-term bearish trend. But usually when this happens, just for the next few days or so, we're most likely going to see either a bullish relief or at the very least some choppy sideways price action over the next half a week, give or take. And so once again, as I've already been saying over the last 2 days, which so far has been playing out exactly as expected, this is what I continue to expect for most likely the rest of this week. And if we're taking a look at Solana on the 12-hour time frame, what we are now seeing as of recording this video is a potential breakout above this area of resistance, which was previous support sitting in between around 140 to 144. But at least at the time of recording this video, we have not yet actually confirmed this breakout with candle closes back above around 144 to 145. So at least for now, we have not fully confirmed that breakout. So for all we know, we could end up seeing a candle close back below that resistance with just a candle wick to the upside. That is a possibility as of right now. But if we do end up confirming this breakout with candle closes above that level, and if we now flip 140 to 144 into new support again, as we've seen previously, then of course this is bullish price structure. If we confirm the breakout here, that is bullish price structure and the first sign of a bullish trend reversal from a bearish trend into a new bullish trend if we confirm this breakout. And also if we confirm some sort of higher low in the price of Solana by confirming this breakout and then seeing a retest of this previous resistance to confirm it as new support, then in that case that would be another confirmation signal of the bullish trend reversal. And especially if we see a confirmed breakout back above 160, that can give us extra confirmation and extra confidence that the price is really flipping much more bullish again in terms of the short-term trend and momentum. And so as for support and resistance to watch out for right now, of course, we still have this massive area of support in between 120 to 128. And even before we hit that area right there, just back here, for example, I was talking about how we have massive amount of buyers, huge support in this exact area right here. And that's pretty much exactly where we bounced from multiple times. And so obviously, if you set up any buy orders around this area right here, whether it was 128 or 124, obviously right now you're doing very well if you're buying in this massive area of support that I've been talking about for a while. And as for other support, if we confirm this breakout once again with those candle closes, then this area of previous resistance should become new support in between 140 to 144. And as for resistance, we should expect a bit of short-term resistance at around 151 to 152 based on this previous high right here. But we do have a lot of resistance right around 160 based on previous significant resistance and support. And once again, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, check out those links down below this video to claim those extra bonuses. And if you want to actually know how to trade crypto, no matter if the price is bullish, bearish, or chopping around sideways, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions. And the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.